Last week, you were suggesting that Huckabee would be smart to come out against Fast Track Authority, and I don't know if you're advising him. I would hope that you would
I am.
reveal
I'm on.
that.
I would have to yes. I would think
full
that would
disclosure.
be conflict of interest. I'm a Mike Huckabee advisor. Yeah, no, I mean I'm not, but it seemed to make common sense, didn't? I mean, I was thinking, when we talked about that, look, I mean, Huckabee's appeal is, even though he's now loaded because of all the ways he cashed in off of his 2008 run, but he comes off as a working class guy, especially with the whole Baptist minister thing and with the regressive social policies that helps him too in that particular way. And the money wings of the party hate him and always have, and they wouldn't give him an audience to apologize and kiss their feet and say, I'm sorry I raised taxes once or twice when he was in Arkansas, among other things, back when some Republicans did those kinds of things because they believed in trying to govern. And so, the Club for Growth, the other guys that went after him in 08 are going to go after him again. He's not going to have the establishment support on the economic side. I mean, if anybody has that, they'll be split between Jeb Bush and Scott Walker and Marco Rubio and one or two others probably. So it would make complete sense when he stood up for Social Security and Medicare. And what do you know? They were listening to your show, as we know Mike Huckabee's people do, Sam, because they came out guns blazing against it. They're doing it in the kind of language of populism. I mean, I begrudgingly objectively give credit where credit's due. Huckabee's very good at that stuff, which is why he's dangerous. He's very good at that, and so it's not about. It becomes that it's no longer just about this trade deal. It becomes about other things. It becomes about Obama and giving Obama the kind of authority you can't trust him with, and it becomes about some of the sort of conspiratorial things that we discussed.
Yesterday we played a clip of Donald Trump, who had cut an ad against the TPP and Fast Track Authority on those terms, of course.
That's exactly right. I don't know, I will still never trust that Donald Trump is running for anything until he runs. I just think he likes the attention. And when it comes right down to it, he will. But, it gives him the opportunity to run ads like this. It's the smart place to be right now, considering where the other Republicans are in this box where they can't move to the left of like full on, economic libertarianism, except for, of course, when it means to giving subsidies to corporations and stuff. That's okay. And so it really makes it so this is a natural place for Huckabee to be, just as a natural place, frankly, for Democrats to be. The question is, can Mike Huckabee, with that, still get through Republican primaries? I think he could win in Iowa, maybe not so much New Hampshire, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. In any case, if he's against this and railing against it, if Bernie Sanders is railing against it, then prominent members of the Senate like Al Franken and Elizabeth Warren and Sherrod Brown are going after it. That gives a better chance. And of course, maybe the most important one in the Senate is Harry Reid, who has, to the chagrin of some Democrats and the Republicans, many of them anyhow, who are for this, tried to push that vote back and use similar types of parliamentary procedures that Mitch McConnell used. It's fun watching them get angry when the same stuff's done to them that they've done. And he's basically said he wanted to push this vote back. So again, anything else that can kind of come before this, the closer we get to because essentially the closer we get to the election, you've got three sitting senators. I don't know that I count Lindsey Graham because I don't really see him as a serious candidate. But if he becomes one, you could say four, right? And you've got Cruz and Rand Paul, and you've got Marco Rubio, and they're going to get just decked from the populist right in a way that Ted Cruz never thought he could. And Marco
Ted
Rubio
Cruz
on immigration, frankly, if they're with this thing. So they're just going to refuse. Who knows what they'll do, but they'll find a way for this not to come up later on.
Ted Cruz, in particular, I think is going to have a real problem because he's getting outflanked. I mean, and we were saying this last week. I mean, he's got nowhere to go. He's got really nowhere to go.
It's evangelicals. It's the exact same base as Huckabee. So
Huckabee
stands even worse for Ted Cruz because he doesn't have the establishment support. So if Huckabee does this, to get evangelicals, he kind of has to do the same thing.
And Huckabee is Huckabee is an evangelical, right? I mean, he is one of them. Ted Cruz speaks to them And I don't know, he may be one of them, but he
I
doesn't
think he
come off as
converted,
one
or
of
I
them.
don't know what the hell
He
is.
doesn't come
He's a
off as one of
space
them.
alien,
Like
yeah.
Huckabee seems like he's down in the mosh pit with them. Ted Cruz.
Well, he's been a Baptist preacher, and
Yeah.
I mean that immediately that and the Southern accent give him legitimacy that Ted Cruz doesn't get. Also, having the name Cruz doesn't help him, and won't that be ironic for Ted Cruz? If for once types of things he's used against everybody else are used against him. So no, I think it puts him in a bad place. He also, let's be quite frank here, is just he comes off as a much bigger a-hole than Huckabee does. He's just not as likable. I mean, Huckabee says terrible things like, abortion is a Holocaust and gay marriage is an attack on religion and things of that sort that make me not like him. But when he's in crowds of people, or does TV, he doesn't sit there and come off as this completely nasty guy in the manner in which Ted Cruz does. So I think Ted Cruz has every disadvantage when going up against Huckabee, and the TPP could be the nail in his grave. So this thing gets delayed. I think he has to come out against it, and I think Rand Paul has to come out against it, and I think Marco Rubio has to come out against it. And then you're starting to build a coalition, aren't you, with people on the left and the right. So if it gets delayed that long, it becomes interesting.
Right, exactly. That's the best way that's the only way that this thing goes down, I think, is if it is, if time catches up with it in some way and it starts getting caught up in this sort of whirlwind. And this is something that we've been saying for literally for months now.